Day 1 out of 4 of recording. I gotta go to Frothy Monkey and get an iced white monkey mocha. Walking into County Q on the first day and running into Ace again, my engineer, and Paul, the producer and the drummer, and then the other session musicians. It felt like it was finally happening. Nick Lutz, or as everyone at County Q calls him, Ace, is just that on the board. And when I walked in and saw him, he made sure that he was going to be on this session, just like he's always been on every session I've done at County Q. I knew that we were going to make something special here with the Staircase Wit record. And just to know that he was excited for this project really made me excited for it. Right now. Ace and I really worked out a good system of working with each other over the last few sessions. So, it was just like riding a bike. It had been 9 months since I had been in there, but he and I were just ready to go again. On the first 2 days, we recorded scratch vocals with the band. So the band would track after listening to my demos, and I went in and I got one shot to put down really bad vocals while they made this amazing music in my headphones in there. It's magical how these session musicians play. On the second day of scratch vocals, Miranda came in with a video camera, and Dad also had a video camera set up, and a couple people, my friends, and a couple of my friends came in to watch me too, and a little nerve-wracking, especially since it was scratch and I didn't have a chance to redo my vocals, but it's just such a cool process, and I'm glad that everyone else got to see how this is made.
Also, as you began working with Paul, who actually owns County Q, and you found out Ace was going to be doing some other projects. So then you began working with Paul, and what's he like behind the board?
I was honestly a little nervous. I never have done vocals with Paul. I've seen Paul work with a background singer, his son actually, on one of our sessions. But Paul's just a cool man. He's a cool dude. And we really meshed well. He would tell me what to do, and I'd do it. And I think I impressed him a little bit, but he impressed me too. He and Ace both are really good on that board, and they know what they're doing, and they make me sound great.
So all of the scratch vocals are done. It was the third day of the booth work for you, which would actually be the first day of actually getting your vocals done just right. The 7 songs musically are done. So Paul's working with you this day, and just kind of making sure your songs are the way you want them, right?
Yes. On the third day, Ace took home all 7 mixes, made a vocal mix. So basically, the songs were mixed in a way that I could hear all the parts, but I could also hear myself now singing along with them and making sure I was hitting the right notes. And then Paul, on the board, set up my mic the way that he thought would sound really cool on these tracks, and man, it really did. It was so much fun. So I was just standing in the booth for a while. We would cut a few takes of each part of the song, and then I would come out of the booth and we'd sit down and go through them and figure out which ones were the best for the actual record.
For that process, somebody to walk in that doesn't really know much about audio editing, how intimidating is that screen with all the different colors and all those things? And Paul's just whizzing through that, tapping on the keyboard and getting it done.
This process would be horrible with someone who didn't know what they were doing, or someone who was even just a little slower at it. But, Paul color-coded all of my takes, so he would just separate the parts, and he'd be like, all right, take 1, and then he'd play me take 2 real quick, and take 3, and then we decided together which one was better. But it was crazy to see all of this stuff on the screen, and he just knew where everything was, and it definitely made this process super efficient. It went super fast, but it worked.
It's about how much time does it take to do one song? What was the whole time frame like there?
Well, the band could track it within 30 minutes to an hour. The vocals themselves took about 30 minutes at the most, with all the different takes. Then selecting the takes or comping the track took about another 15 to 20. And then Paul breaks out this program called Melodyne to just fit everything in where it needs to be and make sure that it'll go into the final mix prepared and ready to go. And that takes a little bit of time, so 45 minutes to an hour, that's when we would break for lunch or go grab some coffee.
Let's talk about your nerves, because at certain points you're kind of laying back in the chair and just having a good time, but at other points you can tell you're a little nervous. So give me the most nerve-wracking times and the least nerve-wracking times during this process.
The most nerve-wracking time is definitely recording scratch vocals on the first 2 days, because you have these session musicians who are about to make the most beautiful track for you. Perfect, like the way you arranged it and everything. But the scratch vocals, the way it is, you're not used to the headphones you're listening to, the mic's not super set up for you, and you're not hearing all your parts right away. So you're sharp and flat and all over the place when you're recording that song, and I just felt bad because the scratch vocals were terrible, and you don't get a second chance. So while they're cutting their parts over and over again, they have to keep listening to me be terrible. But the least nerve-wracking time, obviously, is listening to Paul in this session. After he comped all the tracks, and he would record it to put all on one track, you get to hear kind of everything that you've done over the past couple hours and how it all fit together. And you can kind of start to hear what the final product's going to be like, and that's just the coolest thing for me.
Was there ever a time when you disagreed with certain things the producer wanted? Did you have enough creative freedom?
Yeah, I definitely have the freedom. What's nice is I know these tracks inside and out, and just everyone at County Q is really cool with including you in every bit of the process. So, he would show me the mix and what he was thinking of. And for one example, we dropped a chorus in on the song Hands Down, and it was just a tick behind where I needed it to be. It sounded fine to everyone else, but I knew my demo, and so it was just a little behind where I wanted it to be, so it wasn't lining up with exactly how I heard in my head. And then we looked into it and found out it was off the track just a little bit. And so Paul's like, oh yeah, good ear. And then he fixed it, and then that was it. And no one's feelings were hurt. It was very just open to, we all wanted the final product to be as good as it could be. And we all cared about these songs by the end of it. And so it was just fun to experience it with them. And I think they had fun, and just as much fun as I did.
So you get the song done, then they go back in the booth and do some background vocals, and you did all of those on your song.
I did. This one especially has been a lot of fun because, I got to branch out and try different things. The first couple times I went into County Q, I was writing songs that I was hoping to sell to other people. But the session I did in March, where I did 3 of these 10 songs, and this recent session where I did 7, these were all mine. And I plan on performing these songs. I plan on being the one who sings these songs. So with that comes, background vocals and being able to choose where those go. And, before I was just I want these to sound the best, so I would bring in people to do background vocals who were trained in doing that. But I knew these songs well enough that I kind of had an idea on a few of these of where I wanted to take them, and Paul let me run through them and just to see if they, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks, and they did. I really had fun with it. There's not crazy background vocals on all of these, but a couple of them, there's some really cool lines that I came up with, and I'm proud of them.
What's it like hearing from the producer and other people in the studio, the guy that masters everything, that you were really good?
That's the coolest thing. On a couple of these, on one specifically, Cigarette Smoke, I made a demo to bring in, and we used a lot of that demo track in the final track, and they were just super complimentary. They told me they don't get to cut this kind of music very often. And so I really do think they had fun with it. And that's just the coolest thing. When everybody's having fun with it, it just really boosted my confidence in the whole project. My main thing is I just want to thank everybody for supporting me over these years with all the music, and just especially the Staircase Wit project. This is my favorite style of music that I've ever recorded. And I hope you all enjoy the songs, enjoy the videos that we're going to make for it. 2017 is going to be a big year for Staircase Wit. And that's a wrap.